What just unfolded after the Dutch Grand Prix qualifying could very well mark the beginning of the end for Yuki Tsunoda's career in Formula One, and simultaneously ignite the rise of a new sensation. Isaac Hajar, Red Bull has made a statement that sent shockwaves throughout the paddock, and it all stems from what happened at Zandvoort. On one side, you have Tsunoda, a driver backed by Honda, a loyal servant of the Red Bull Junior system, who continues to falter at the very moments when he desperately needs to prove his worth. On the other side stands Isaac Hajar, a rookie who has stunned everyone with his raw speed, fearless approach and ability to outperform machinery that should not even be in contention for top grid spots. At Zandvoort, the contrast could not have been sharper. Hajar managed to put his car on the second row, right behind the McLarens and alongside Verstappen himself, proving once again that he is not only a fast learner but also a driver with nerves of steel. Tsunoda, meanwhile, failed to even reach Q3, bowing out in Q2, and cementing the narrative that has followed him all season, that when it matters most he comes up short. And now Red Bull has all the justification it needs to rethink its driver lineup heading into 2026, a season where the regulations reset, and where the team knows it cannot afford dead weight. But the question that looms larger than ever is this: would Hajar truly be promoted into Red Bull? And if so, is that even a promotion at all? The so-called Red Bull curse has haunted every driver not named Max Verstappen for nearly a decade, from Pierre Gasly to Alex Albon, from Sergio Perez to the shortest stint ever endured by Liam Lawson. The second seat at Red Bull has become one of the most dangerous positions in all of Formula One. The machinery, brutal in its setup window and unforgiving in its balance, is engineered around Verstappen's unique driving style, and history has shown that anyone else who steps into that car inevitably looks like a shadow of themselves. Perez, despite all his experience and flashes of brilliance, has been outclassed week in and week out. Gasly's confidence was shattered during his brief tenure. Albon needed years to rebuild his reputation after being thrown into the deep end. Lawson, despite his immense promise, was chewed up and spit out in record time. And now Tsunoda, a driver who once brimmed with confidence and fire, finds himself in the exact same trap, unable to keep pace, unable to shine, and unable to prove that he deserves to stand alongside Verstappen. That's why the idea of Hajar stepping up is both thrilling and terrifying. Yes, he has the raw speed. Yes, he has shown flashes of brilliance. But is he ready for the pressure cooker environment that has destroyed careers before him? If he accepts the call, his entire future hangs in the balance. He could rise as Red Bull's next great ace, or he could join the long list of talented drivers who never recovered from the second-seat curse. What makes this situation even more dramatic is the timing. The 2026 regulation reset promises to completely shake up the order in Formula One. New power units, new aerodynamics, new everything. The entire field will be starting from zero. For Red Bull, this is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it's a chance to rebuild and strengthen their position after dominating the Verstappen era. On the other hand, it opens the door for rivals to catch up or even surpass them. And that is exactly why their driver lineup for 2026 is so critical. Verstappen's future is no longer guaranteed. Rumors swirl that he could opt out of his contract if the team falters under the new regulations. If Verstappen were to leave, Red Bull would not just be replacing a driver, they would be replacing the very foundation of their dominance. And in such a scenario, Isaac Hajar becomes more than just a potential teammate for Verstappen. He becomes a potential cornerstone for the team's future. A young, hungry, fearless driver who could lead the rebuild if Max decides he's had enough. But would Hajar accept such a monumental risk? Because let's be clear, joining Red Bull is not just about racing next to Verstappen, it's about surviving the most brutal test in Formula One. If he fails, his career could be destroyed before it even begins. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda faces the fight of his life. After 5 years in the Red Bull system, his chance has come and gone. Despite his talent, despite his flashes of brilliance, and despite Honda's relentless backing, Tsunoda has failed to deliver the kind of consistent elite performances that Red Bull demands. 7 points in 12 weekends simply isn't enough when you are expected to support a 4-time world champion in the constructors' fight. Red Bull's patience is running out, and the writing is on the wall. Tsunoda's only hope may lie outside of Red Bull's family. With Honda's ties to Aston Martin, and with Lance Stroll's continued underperformance raising questions about nepotism within the team, Tsunoda could find himself with a lifeline. Aston Martin could present a fresh start, a chance to prove himself away from Verstappen's shadow, and an opportunity to rebuild his career. But let's not sugarcoat it, this is a fallback option. For Tsunoda, the dream of fighting at the front in a Red Bull car appears all but dead, and the heartbreak of that realization is magnified by the fact that it's happening right as Isaac Hajar is making his claim to the throne. The irony of this situation cannot be ignored. Tsunoda has spent years developing within the Red Bull and AlphaTauri, now Racing Bulls, system, waiting for his chance only to find himself discarded at the very moment his dream seemed within reach. Hajar, on the other hand, is bursting onto the scene with immediate results, turning heads with qualifying performances that rival some of the best drivers on the grid. At Zandvoort, he wasn't just competing, he was excelling, to put his car on the second row, ahead of Ferrari, ahead of Mercedes, and side by side with Max Verstappen, is an achievement that simply cannot be ignored. It screams potential, it screams talent, and it screams that Red Bull may finally have found a diamond in the rough. And yet the cautionary tales of the past loom large, because talent alone has never been enough in that second seat. To survive, you need resilience, adaptability, and the mental fortitude to withstand the relentless comparisons to Verstappen. Does Hajar have that? Nobody knows, and that uncertainty is what makes this entire saga so fascinating. But let's not forget, Hajar isn't the only name in the mix. Liam Lawson, a driver many believe was unfairly tossed aside, remains a viable option. He has experience, talent, and the hunger to prove himself. Then there's Alex Palou, a four-time IndyCar champion who's already proven his speed and adaptability across different categories. Palou's connection to McLaren complicates things, but his raw ability makes him an enticing prospect nonetheless. And yet, even with such strong competition, Hajar stands out. He is the one making headlines. He is the one outperforming expectations. He is the one forcing Red Bull to consider a bold move, and that's why all signs point towards him. If Red Bull is serious about the future, if they are serious about securing their dominance in the constructors' fight, then Hajar seems like the obvious choice. The risk is immense, but the potential reward could be even greater. Laurent Mekies, the Red Bull team principal, has tried to shield Tsunoda, insisting that the team's priority is to give him a car that suits his style. Mekies has spoken about finding ways to help Tsunoda rediscover his form, pointing to Spa as a positive sign, but let's be honest, these are words of desperation. They are the words of a team that knows its faith in a driver is fading fast. Mekies may believe in Tsunoda, but Formula One is not a sport of beliefs, it's a sport of results. And Tsunoda's results simply aren't good enough. Contrast that with Hajar's trajectory and the choice becomes obvious. The rookie is delivering results now when it matters most. And Red Bull, facing the uncertainty of 2026, cannot afford to ignore that. And so we are left with a dramatic crossroads. Tsunoda's career with Red Bull hangs by a thread. Hajar's future is brimming with possibility, but also peril. Red Bull must decide whether to stick with loyalty and risk mediocrity, or take a bold gamble on the rookie who could change everything. For Tsunoda, it's a nightmare scenario. For Hajar, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. And for Red Bull, it's a decision that could define the next era of Formula One. Will they take the risk? Will Hajar accept the challenge? Or will this saga end the way so many others have, with another talented driver crushed by the weight of the Red Bull curse? One thing is certain. The next chapter of this story will change the grid forever. And the only question left to ask is this: when the call comes, will Isaac Hajar say yes, or will he walk away from the most dangerous seat in Formula One? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss breaking Formula One stories.